My name is Nick Bushta, and I'm HIV positive. I was born in Salinas, California in 1959, raised in the San Joaquin Valley. I'm the third of 3 children to Ron and Shirley Bushta. My father was an aviation ordnanceman and my mother was a nurse. I enjoyed growing up in the country. There was always something to do, something to get into. I came from a small town. The surrounding area was mostly used for crops and livestock. Thinking back, I wanted to be a fireman when I grow up, but I wasn't sure when I grew up if I wanted to be a fireman or that I just really wanted to help others. Since my father was in the Navy, in 1975 we ended up moving to Japan. It was very exciting to experience a new culture at such a young age. I lived there for 4 years and was in high school for a couple of years and worked as a model in Tokyo for a couple of years. I eventually moved back to San Diego and tried to seek employment there, and it was difficult. So I decided I'd go into the Air Force because I was familiar with the military lifestyle. When I was working in the Air Force as a security specialist, I had a pain in my side, so I went to the hospital. They found I had a liver abscess, so I was given treatment for that. When the abscess wasn't going away, they tested me for some other things, and I came up HIV positive. I didn't really know anything about the disease, and neither did anybody else. I was given a counselor in case I needed to talk, and it seemed that they didn't know what to say either. I wasn't given very much information. When my military service was over, I moved back to my parents in San Diego and told them about my diagnosis and the rest of my family as well. And they were shocked to find out that I had HIV. I explained to them that this was very serious. I didn't know what to do or anything about it, but we had to get through every day and do the best we could. I didn't want them to think of me as dying every day. We had to really get serious and be positive that I was going to be all right. I didn't want to live my life with daily people were thinking about he's going to die, he's going to die.
Through the late 90s, even through the beginning of the 2000s, there was still a lot of stress. When we were telling somebody they had HIV, they immediately thought, I have a limited number of years. I'm going to die in X amount of years. Whereas now, and some people still feel that way, so there's a lot of discrepancy, but a lot of our patients and clients and people we interact with feel more like, well, this is manageable. This is something that's more like diabetes.
Early on, having HIV was difficult. Nobody knew what to tell me how to take care of myself. I had to find out on my own. Whenever I did meet somebody else who was HIV positive, I know we always shared information, how we're uncomfortable, how we make ourselves comfortable, how we're not feeling right, what we can do to make ourselves feel right. We console each other, we share ideas on getting through day by day.
In the 1990s, we were still in the first half of the epidemic, and that was characterized by pretty much chaos.
It's nice that these days there are agencies helping people with HIV and all the things they go through mentally to deal with it.
I think probably the biggest challenge for anyone living with HIV in Oklahoma, regardless of their income, regardless of their status in medical care, is feeling comfortable enough to be able to talk about their condition with others in the community.
I think that it's important to realize that people are not just their physical bodies, and they are not just the virus. They're people. They have needs that go way outside that, and they needed to be treated as a whole person.
You know you will deal with people from all aspects, from the point of not wanting to be in the same room with you, that they might catch it too, to people who fully understand and aren't worried at all and will still hug you.
In many ways, there's many parts of our community that are still uninformed, even like nurses and people in the medical field, that when they're told that a client has HIV, still they're like, oh, I don't want to touch them, I don't want to be involved with them. And that's such an archaic way of thinking. And at the same time, the other part about, it's one of the most generous. We have so many organizations, we have so many people that have dedicated their lives to help with this disease and help these clients. And yet, there are many factions also that are totally lacking empathy. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to be a part of it. They don't want HIV to be mentioned, as if it's, if we don't talk about it, it's just going to kind of disappear.
I went about 6 years after finding out I was HIV positive without any medical treatment. There weren't any established things to do to fight the disease yet. I was concerned, would I get fired? Would I be released from insurance coverage? I just didn't know what to do, so I kept quiet. Until I got pneumocystic pneumonia. This pneumonia is very aggressive and makes it so you're unable to breathe. So at this point, I knew I didn't have any choice. I had to seek treatment. And my employer would have to know, and I would have to find my way through that situation as best I could.
A lot of clients, they're encouraged by doctors and by family to get on disability because their health is declining or has declined. Well, the problem with that is that once they get on disability, then there's that fear factor. Okay, well, I start to feel healthy, now I want to get off of disability. But if I get off, it took me 3 years to get on. So now that's, it's like I'm really afraid to get off of the disability, and there's not really a mechanism in place for that. Also, in our culture particularly, it's my opinion anyway, that when people give up their employment, a lot of times we lose our identity. Especially men, when two men meet, they don't really even ask, hey, what's your name? It's like, hey, what do you do? Because that's who you are, is what you do. And when people stop doing what they do, they're no longer a carpenter, they're no longer an accountant. Who am I? What am I?
So from catching pneumonia 25 years ago and starting medication at all to help with my HIV status, I didn't realize I would live a couple more years. I didn't really make plans. I didn't live a regular life. I just did what I wanted to every day. Kind of like a teenager would. They just do whatever makes them happy at the moment. Here I am this many years later, still figuring out how to get through the day comfortably and happily and do what I like. It's not always easy, but there's a lot more information out there now, providing people are willing to stay informed.
One of the things that has changed a lot over time is the treatment has improved so much for many people. It doesn't work the same in every person, but many people, the new antivirals and the new combinations of them work so effectively that they can reduce the amount of HIV in positive people so much that it actually makes it very hard for them to infect other people. So one of the buzz phrases that's come along a few years ago was treatment is actually prevention too. So if people know that they have HIV, particularly if they have HIV negative sex partners, it's really important that they're really aggressive about the medication.
When I moved out here, it was a little bit scary because I only had 1 more month of medication. I had to figure out where to get some more. So luckily enough, my sister working in the healthcare industry, she was able to find out about Tulsa CARES.
Tulsa CARES was founded in 1991 as a planned community response to the HIV epidemic in Oklahoma. At the time of our founding, HIV disease had very few treatment options, and we had very limited resources. And so what we focused on providing most was a compassionate response to many of our clients who often only had a life expectancy of weeks to months to years. By developing programs that support the needs of people living with this very serious, yet now chronically manageable disease, Tulsa CARES remains a cornerstone of Tulsa's HIV care delivery system. Our interdisciplinary approach to social service delivery includes case management, mental health, nutrition, and housing programs. Each of these programs is designed to link clients with critical resources and to empower people to make decisions for themselves that support a healthy quality of life. At Tulsa CARES, we recognize the healing power of social support, optimal nutrition, and safe, stable housing, and improving health outcomes for people living with HIV/AIDS. As a Tulsa Area United Way partner agency, we work to build a community where all individuals and families achieve their full human potential.
I really like Tulsa CARES. It's a very helpful organization. They've been indispensable in helping me live my life for the past 14 years comfortably and safely. I admire these people because they're in a profession that's not easy. They don't get paid well, and they're in it for the love of helping others.
I know I'm here only because there is such a need, and it's not being filled. And it's a need that I think a lot of people don't realize, and they don't want to think about, and they're not comfortable with.
My hopes for the rest of my life are that people understand HIV more and understand that everybody has challenges and have to meet these challenges the best they can. I hope people are more kind and understanding with each other and talk about these things and share their experiences.
So it became more of a chronic disease management sort of thing with long-term goal setting and planning, and not nearly as much fear.
What I would tell somebody who was recently diagnosed with HIV is that it's not the end of the world. There are ways to manage this disease and ways to live comfortably with it.
But with the tools that we have, we already can stop HIV and AIDS by preventing new infections and helping people live longer who already have it.
Photo Voice is a process where people who traditionally have less power, either because of their low socioeconomic status or their sexual orientation or identity, and in this case, their HIV status, are given an opportunity to document their lives through photography. And by doing photography and sharing their experiences, they're able to shed light on an important social condition that needs to be changed in the community. The goals of the Reframing Positive Photo Voice project were threefold. First, we wanted clients to be given a voice to share their experiences with the broader community. Secondly, we wanted to give clients the opportunity to reflect more deeply about HIV and how it's impacted their life for the good and for the bad, and to share that experience with others. And thirdly, we wanted to create a platform for clients to be able to share their experiences with the broader community to increase community compassion and awareness and support for the needs of Oklahomans who are affected with HIV. Recently, I was able to sit down with one of the Photo Voice project participants, Nick Bushta, who was able to share his photographs and what the project meant to him.
That was an interesting project. I enjoyed trying to take the pictures with anonymity in mind. That was a challenge. It gave me a little more insight into some of my friends in the group's artistic abilities. They took some really good photos. I took this picture because it shows the basics needed to make everything work daily. Every link in the chain of events has to be present for the bare minimum to happen. This bulb represents the bare minimum as far as light. So with the sequence of events that leads it to work, all those elements are necessary, such as in life, where you need elements to be happy, to be fed, to be loved, in order to make the life work. So that was what I had in mind when I took that. I realized it was the end of another day, and I'd lived well, felt good, was successful in what I planned to do, and another day was coming next. This is an actor friend of mine, Paul Henry, who's been dealing with multiple sclerosis. Being friends with Paul has shown me that though I'm in this situation I'm in, everyone has challenges. Everyone's dealing on some level with something that they need to overcome to get through the day. Some of these challenges are big, some of these are little. It's all in how you deal with them. But I took this to show me and to show to others that you gotta do what you gotta do to get by. He's got one leg brace and 2 canes. He does what he needs to do to get by. And I just value that. I think I was ill for years and had it rough. There's always someone out there that has to try a little bit harder and put you in your place in an emotional perspective, and that's good. Well, I was at rehearsal, so it was easy to take this picture as soon as everyone left the stage. I don't know, it just shows an exciting part of my life, a part that's always alive and happening. Things are going on. This particular theater in the picture does a lot of children's groups where they can come and do classes and learn. It's community theater, so everybody's welcome. You can go down tomorrow and get in the next show. I think everyone should be involved in performing or music or some artistic sculpting, plate twirling, whatever it may be. Everybody should have a light activity that they like to do. It keeps you young and keeps your mental focus sharp. When you do find out somebody has HIV positive, realize they're no different than you. Their circumstance may have been a little different, but everybody's the same like that, so.